Hey, River family. We are excited to be with you again today, wrapping up a discussion on honor and what it means, why it's so important to us, why it's so important to God, and what are our opportunities to honor well.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we realize that we're surrounded by, both in the body of Christ and outside of it, people who are doing their best and sometimes not doing their best and hurting people along the way. And honestly, I think one of the most intense things that Jesus tells us to do is to pray for those who persecute you, to intercede on behalf of those that are despitefully using you. That's intense. This idea that these people that, whether intentionally or unintentionally, are out to get you or causing you harm, are the people that we are supposed to be seeking the Lord on their behalf.
Yeah. And that is a challenge. That's a really big challenge if you don't have honor.
Yeah.
If you're not choosing honor, then this is this giant hurdle that you're I don't see it, God. I don't understand. I don't want to pray good things for them. I want to pray curses, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is the world's answer to harm, offense, hurt, right, especially when it's intentional, is they call it justice, but really they're calling for revenge. They're calling for reparations. They're calling for things to be made even or to make up for the fact that there was harm done.
Yeah.
And that is, the eye for an eye mentality of if you hurt me, you have to make up for what until I feel better for the hurt you caused me, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And Jesus comes and says, no, actually, when they hit you, you just turn the other cheek. And the answer to sin 100% of the time is supposed to be forgiveness.
That's right.
No matter how much it hurts me.
That's right.
Forgiveness is the answer, and that is a call to honor. That only really works if you understand some form of honor, whether you realize it or not. If you're able to forgive someone who's causing you harm, who still wants to cause you harm, and isn't changing their ways at all, has not repented, the only way you do that is through honor, because you have to be able to connect with God and see them the way He does in order to actually accept His forgiveness for them, right? Because again, forgiveness isn't something I make happen.
So good. Honestly, the truth is this is just like everything else. I feel like we talk about this all the time whenever we're breaking down our videos. It's the answer is essentially the same for everything. Is if this scares you, then you're right. It's scary. This is hard.
It's not easy.
And the literally only way to do it is relationship with God.
Yeah.
You cannot honor dishonorable people on your own. Maybe for a time. Maybe for 20 minutes.
Maybe some of them.
Yeah, maybe some of them, right? Maybe people that are your parents or your kids or whatever. But the reality is even those people over a long period of time require your connection with God for you to love them the way that He's called us to love them. And so I feel sometimes we read these verses and get so caught up in perfection. I
need to pray to intercede. I need to make a checklist out of it.
And miss Psalms. Honestly, the older I get, I feel the more I love Psalms, because there's this thing that's happening that's I hate everyone, the world is terrible, I can't do this anymore, God, where the heck are you? And then he gets there and he's but I know that you love me. But I know that you're there for me, that you're fighting for me.
That you're Lord, that you're ruler.
And there's so much in that will set you free. God's not afraid of your pain, of your mess, of your fear, of your stress. And communicating that to Him is vulnerability, especially if you end with, but what are you saying about this situation?
Right. There is a difference between complaining, which when the Israelites were complaining, right, God's response to that seems almost harsh.
Yeah.
Right? It's if you're just walking around well, life sucks, everything's terrible, look at the world, God, this is a mess, and end there every time, that's unhealthy, that's not helpful. But if you are saying it in order to be vulnerable about my heart aches because this is happening in the world, this affects me and it hurts, or this affects people I love and it really hurts because it's hurting them, what's going on, God? What can I do? I feel so small, insignificant, whatever, and I know you're in charge, so tell me, right? If you get to that point, that is vulnerability, and that is what relationship looks like. And that will lead you to the truth, that will lead you to breakthrough, to be able to actually pray for and intercede for the people groups, the specific person, the leader, whatever, that is oppressing you, that is hurting you, that is causing harm to you and the people you love.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
You only get there with God.
That's so good. God doesn't call us when we're offended to just get over it. He literally
pretend it
says,
didn't happen.
yeah, he literally says to go to the person that offends you and fix it, clean up the mess.
Have a conversation.
And if it doesn't work, go to the leaders and bring them into it. And it's like, it's the same thing with God. When you're hurt towards a person or a people group or an institution, God isn't saying, get over it.
No.
He's not saying, just pray for him already. He's saying, bring it to me.
Let's talk.
Bring what's going on in your heart to me so that I can show you my heart for this situation.
Right.
Then we can get to a place where we watch what I can do in their life because you invited me into it.
Exactly. And that's how we change the world. That's how Christians change everything, is by going to God and then pray, because he uses us to activate, right? Through our prayer, what his plans are, what the amazing things his love can do in every situation. It only works if we start doing that first with him and then praying for those who are hurting people.
That's right. So don't get over your pain. Don't just pretend like it isn't happening.
Right.
Don't ignore it. Don't treat it like it's no big deal. Don't say I'm fine when you're not. But take it to God and allow him to show you his heart, to show you who he is and how he feels and how much he loves you, and then how much he loves that person or that institution or that people group that's causing you pain. And watch what he's able to do when you give him access.